I'm back. Side note, it's kind of funny that so many of the YouTube influencers will only post one or two videos a week, and they have to keep rambling for 5 minutes so that YouTube pays them because you watched for farther enough. And they're only able to make that many videos because they try to make it look nice. But if you actually have something important to say, you might as well just say it instead of trying to make it look nice. That's a key point that I'm going to be coming back to is only a con artist needs to make things look nice because they want the look to trick you into believing them. Only a con artist needs you to agree with them. I don't care. You go ahead, disagree. It doesn't matter. You think too highly of your own opinion. Only a con artist needs you to support them. It's a very easy tell. Only a con artist is trying to sell seminars. All my work is free. So if you meet someone who wants to make sure they look really good and say what you like to hear, you know you're dealing with a con artist. And if you fall for it, you're a fool. So I'm going to address a few more of the aspects. Now we're getting deeper into the weeds about healthy relationships, dating, love, intimacy, and the divisive conversation in the gender war surrounding all these issues. This one is particularly about what people are looking for in a partner and why. So the first one is that a lot of people want to meet someone who's charming. I want to meet someone who looks good and says what I like to hear, and they impress me, and they're nice to me and polite, and they make me feel good. Only a con artist is going to bother to do all those things. Someone who's being their authentic self isn't looking for your approval. So they're not going to say what you want to hear. They're going to say their own feeling. And they're going to let you feel whatever judgment and feeling you feel. If I say something and you're upset about it, I want to hear you're upset. I want to feel it with you. I'm not going to lie to you just to appease you. That's a con artist. So whenever you meet someone who's charming, you got to remember that a charm is a spell being cast on you by an enchanter, and they're seeking to enslave you. That's what charm is. It's someone who's really good at lying to manipulate other people. That's a charmer. So for as far back as we look in history, in many, many cultures, grandmas were telling you, never talk to charmers. Never speak to a charmer because it will work. The charm is going to work. It's going to make you feel good. You're going to get butterflies. You're going to like that person. That's why you shouldn't talk to them. Is because it does work. Wow. So if you're insisting that someone charm you, they've got to walk up to you at the bar and they've got to say something that you like to hear, you are only dating abusers who are trying to manipulate you. You are selecting specifically for the guy who's the best liar. Have you noticed yet? And if you block and ghost anyone who says what you don't like to hear, you are ignoring all the perspectives that would help you grow. That's your fault. If someone dangles candy in front of a white van and you say, oh yeah, I want the candy, and you end up in a white van, you're a fool. So all the forms of grooming, the love bombing, the flattery, all the pumping you up, you're so wonderful, you're so amazing, those are all forms of charm. And we used to have words for it. It was called lip service, called blowing smoke up your... It was called glad handing. And I am not the best at identifying those behaviors, but I do consistently identify them well before most other people do. Someone comes into the room and they walk up to the first person and say, "Wow, you're the most amazing person I've ever met. You're so great." And then they walk up to the next person and say, "Wow, you're the most amazing person. You're so great." That's glad handing. Only a con artist does that. So, glad handing, lip service, blowing smoke up your dangling candy until you get into the white van. Those tactics can only work on you if you are greedy. You have to want other people to like you. You have to want people to think you're attractive. You have to want people to approve of you. You want free stuff that you didn't earn. Those are the only people who can be conned, are the greedy ones. So, classic example has happened to me a few times. I go down the subway station, I'm paying for my ticket in the subway, and there's a scammer who comes up with a ticket, and he says, "There's $20 on this ticket. I'll give it to you for $5. You mean money I didn't earn? You're going to give me something that I didn't earn? Only greedy people fall for a scam. You have to be greedy to fall for a scam. So I say to them, "No, I don't need it. I already brought enough money for myself." "Well, why don't you want it? It's $20 for $5. You get $15. Okay, then you should be happy to keep it. Right? Aren't you getting $15 if you keep it? There must be someone else who needs it more than me." So if you're greedy, you will always be scammed. And it's your fault for being greedy. When someone's dangling candy in front of a white van trying to lure you in, that's exactly the same as someone buying you drinks. That's exactly the same as someone flattering your looks. That's exactly the same as someone offering you a free vacation or gifts or a nice dinner. That is candy in front of a white van. And if you fall for it, it's your fault for being a fool. It's that simple. You want free stuff? Then you're the product. Someone offers you free backstage passes, what's going to happen next? You're the product every single time you accept something for free. Your food. Next is attractiveness. There are a couple parts to this. If you insist that your potential partner be attractive, then you will be filtering out everyone who is not fixated on their own appearance. The people who are most attractive are the ones who spent the most time on their appearance. You might have a distribution of hotness naturally, genetically, but the people who spent the most time on their appearance are the ones who moved that far. The people who spent the most time and they got money to spare, time to burn, they're the ones who look the hottest. And those are exactly the same people who are highly narcissistic. The story of Narcissus was a youth who was so enamored of his own appearance that he stared into the reflection of a pond until he starved to death. So whenever you're going after who's most attractive, you're almost certain to go after a narcissist. That's you. That's your problem. You made that happen. In contrast, the people who have a good spirit, let their spirit shine. The people who want to be admired for their heart and their mind don't bother with appearances. If you use your appearance to get my attention and my interest, if you use your appearance to try to attract me, then you're telling me that's your best feature, which means everything else is crap. I'm going to let my heart shine. I'm going to let you see my mind. And if that's not enough for you, then there ain't going to be enough for you. I wouldn't want to be with someone like you. Next, there's dominance. When people say that someone's dominant, the behaviors that they point to, you look at, oh, they're dominant. Look at the behaviors they point to. It's really just abusive and controlling. Dominus, the Latin, was the wise lord of a land who managed it well for the benefit of his people. The wise king who was thinking ahead for everyone's benefit. That's dominus. But now you use the word dominant to refer to someone who's a bully. So if you're attracted to dominance, then you got to be honest, you're attracted to evil. And if you run after evil, what do you think's going to happen to you? That's 100% your fault. No one can be blamed if you choose to be with someone who's evil. You did it to yourself. Same thing for leader. A lot of people, this is particularly in the manosphere and the TikTok feminists sphere. But both of these dating advice, the men talking to men and the women talking to women about dating advice, they use the word leader. And we've got a lot of research on what actually makes someone a good leader. I recommend Forsyth's Group Dynamics textbook. It goes through all the research on actual leadership. An actual leader is going to tell you why something's important. Both the conceptual reasons, the practical reasons, and also the emotive reasons. Why should you be emotionally invested in this? And they're going to be speaking to your emotional interests and your needs and your interests. The leader is also going to delegate. Leaders are going to say, you're good at that, you do that. You're good at that, you do that. That's leadership. Okay? But these dating advice people, they say it's leadership if you tolerate abuse without showing emotion. And that you serve other people's demands. It's really weird because that's the opposite of leadership. So you can watch the videos where TikTok dating advice women say specifically that a woman will test you by being abusive. She's being unloving to see if you react emotionally. Because for you to prove that you're a good leader, you have to let her abuse you without showing any feelings. Somehow that's leadership. If she's abusive to you, you have to show no emotion and let her abuse you. But that sounds like a submissive person, not a leader. A submissive person will let you abuse them. So those women who claim that they want a leader in a man are actually looking for a man who's submissive, who lets that woman abuse him. And then if he's a leader, he's supposed to schedule the date and do all these little things for her. That's not a leader, that's a butler. A leader delegates. So if you want a man who's a leader, he's going to say, okay, you do this. Here's what you need to do. That's delegation. I'm quite certain those women are not looking for an actual leader. They're looking for a submissive butler. And then I should mention, related to that, is the tests. Things like the bird test, the orange test, the mustard test. There have been dozens and dozens of tests. And the only thing that a test like that proves is that the person who did it to their partner, the person who did it is unloving. If you're going to abuse the person you say you love so that they have a chance to prove how much they love you, you proved you don't love them. That's all that happened. If you're going to measure someone else by how much abuse they tolerate from you, if you're going to say that you get to hurt someone else or command them and somehow you love them, then you don't know what love is. So every woman who did a dating or relationship test to her guy, she proved that she does not love. That's all that happened. And I'll mention this other one too, because there's a lot of research on this one. Confidence. When we measure confidence, we see that it is the opposite of competence. The person who won the competition, the person who actually knows how to do it best, they're competent. The person who thinks they'll always win, who thinks they're great, that's confidence. Confido means with faith. Confidence means take my word for it. Competence means I won in the competition. You don't have to take my word for it. So when someone is confident, they tell you, it'll be great. I'm so awesome because I say so. I'm definitely going to win. And they expect you to have faith in their word. They want to put on an act. They want to swagger to make you think that they're somehow greater than they are. Whenever we measured it, going back to the 1980s, every single person who's competent shows lower confidence than the incompetent people. The incompetent ones are always the most confident. So if you're looking for a guy who shows confidence, I guarantee he is incompetent. That's every time we've ever checked. And it's your fault for not looking up the research. You were listening to a talking head who just told you what you wanted to hear, and you shoved garbage in your brain. That's a lack of competence on your part. You were feeling very confident, and you didn't know what the heck you were talking about. Have a good day.